Thank you guys for joining me. This is the first episode of Syracuse Sound, and I'm Mikey T, and I'm joined here today with my friend.
Disapproval Joe.
Awesome, and we're gonna just be talking about music. We're gonna talk about anything we want kind of today, and Joe's gonna share with us his journey and his music, and kind of we're just gonna go from there. One of the things that really like when I heard Joe's music at first, or when we first started talking, was how he really, like, in his music, he liked to go into really serious subjects. And he told me, and he was like, hey, I remember you asked me, you're like, are you a songwriter? Like, we're like, all right, what kind of songwriter? And you were like, when you write a song, like, how do you think of this? And then we just, like, I remember the first time we chatted, were like, oh my God, I wrote this because of this. And like, we got really intricate into it. And so I wanted to, like, just hear more, you know what I mean, from you like,
for sure.
So when you, like, write a song, what's your process? How do you start?
Well, when I wrote my music, I was in a very, like, dark place, so I didn't have anyone to turn to. Like, my family and I, there's a lot of drama going on. I was in a very toxic relationship, and I put all my faith in that person. So then when they were gone, I felt I didn't have anybody for myself. And then my best friends at the time were in their own shit, and I didn't want to be like that burden, so it was just me. So I always, like, looked up to artists, like, listening to the music and stuff, but I wanted something more. So I felt by writing things down, they weren't necessarily lyrics, they were more like just, like, thoughts, but they became into these themes and, like, these patterns of music that I want to look back on for myself, not for anyone else, though. It was kind of like a diary, I guess you could say. It's like, you know, my own personal thoughts, but I don't want anyone to see them because I don't feel people will understand or they'll take it the wrong way. And I just kind of, like, have it for myself at first. But as time went on, they started to rhyme and have, like, melodies, choruses, and, like, this is actually turning into a song. Like, I remember my first song I ever wrote was my freshman year of high school. It was called No Ordinary Life. And it was just, like, the most, like, depressing song you'll ever hear in your life. But, like, when I wrote that song, it was kind of like, you know, it wasn't like the thought of, like, this is a $1 million hit, like, Grammys, blah, blah, blah. It was more like I made something, it made me feel better. And in that moment, I wanted to continue doing that. Not for, like I said, the Grammys awards or anything, more just, like, look back on it and be like, I survived this obstacle. I learned this from this person. Like, each one was like a chapter of life I could look back on as a memory and just continue on and build more craft as a person as a whole.
Nice. That's awesome. That's sweet. I know you say, like, when you wrote, like, your first song is like, did you end up releasing that first song?
So I have written 200 songs in my life.
Damn. Okay.
And there's 9 albums, and the one that we recorded was Disapproval, because in that I wanted to record something that I was feeling in that very moment. I didn't want to go back and, like, rehearse to feel old things, like, through albums 1 through 6. So I was like, I just want to record how I'm feeling right now to make it raw and effective. And, like, my mindset was there. So I wanted to keep it surreal. So maybe in the future, will I go back to those songs? 100%. But right now, I just want to keep vibing with this album because it took 2 years of my life. And it was a lot of, like, hard nights of, like, criticism and no one believing and a lot of, like, misunderstanding. And it was kind of like a one-sided thing for myself, I feel like, for the longest time. But, like, once, like, I had, like, Steve, who's, like, my manager and everything, he's been there since day one, and, like, I could say something so crazy and, like, he, like, maybe he could have disagreed, but he would not judge me, and there's a difference with that. I'm okay with criticism but not being judged. So that's a big thing with me because I'm a very, like, optimistic person, and, like, I know what I want. That's another thing. I just know what I want when I write something. I know sound effects, I know melodies. When I hear something, I know it because it's in my head.
You have, like, the mind of a producer.
Yeah, I just know what I want. And sometimes it's very, like, weird and out there. Like, on my songs, like, I have knives rubbing together, police officers moaning, death, like, being killed, everything super dark, mysterious, sexy. And to other people that might be, like, attention seeking or weird or not normal. And so all that, I say fuck it, because that is how I felt in that moment. And I just hope that people who have ever felt in my shoes could, like, look back on that and be like, wow, I'm not crazy. Like someone else feels this way. And I just like want like these really like this weird dark fairy tale album that is my life and 100% true to touch on someone. Not all 16 tracks, maybe one, two, or a single lyric, something for them to hold on to and be like, wow, like I fuck with that.
Mm. Real quick, shout out to Steve.
Love that man.
You did bring up, I mean, like that one of, if not the best, mixed engineers in Syracuse or all New York or whatever.
Steve is one thing as a talented artist and producer and everything, 100%. But I think the thing that makes him so talented is like his personality to all artists. Like, I just think because like Steve's a very chill, mellow person, but he's so quick to like be like show a different side for other people. Like with me, he knows like I'm really out there, so he can take it. And then he has people that are maybe a little more quieter, or he has like rappers, country, whatever. He can fuck with any genre and still be him, which I think is super cool. He doesn't have to change his personality. It's still him, but he knows how to interact with different people, but still being true to himself, which I think really helps with his craft and understanding these artists as well, including myself.
Yeah, he just mixed my song Lies. He did that one for me. Came out so nice.
Okay, guys, listen, I know we're talking about me right now, but please listen to Lies. It is so good. Like, I'm not even kidding you. It's got like this cool like eerie effect. And like when I listen to it, I feel like I'm like in the city and it's late at night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, like this is me like after like going to Destiny. I bought $500 worth of clothes. And no, I'm not gonna wear every single one, but like it is late at night and I'm walking in that parking lot and it's sketchy and I got the eerie vibe and I'm like,
you're just kind of like bopping, like
I'm just
vibing.
like, but I'm okay though, because like this beat is in my head. Like I just love that one. But
that album cover actually. So it's just like it's the Boston skyline in the middle of the night. I took that picture just like when I was out with friends in the middle of the night one time. We ended up in a friend of mine's like apartment in this high rise downtown, and I'm like, I don't know why we ended up here, but this is dope. It's amazing view. Yeah. And I was like, this is gonna be one of my covers one day, and I ended up saving it for that.
That's so cool. Like I feel like the album covers, like I feel like you can't just like have like a photo shoot, be like, this is the cover. Like when I did mine, it was just like me hanging out with my friend. Like I had a cool outfit, and we was like this local ice cream place, like where I live. And like I was just taking pictures, and like we did school and shit, and I was like, fuck it, I don't want to be here. So I was doing these cool pictures, and then because my grandma like works at the school, and then she caught us, and she's like, what are you doing, blah blah blah, like why are you posing like that, who do you think you are, that looks so weird. I'm like, okay, cool. So we had one last picture, and that was the picture we used for my album cover, which I think is just so weird because like I would have never believed you telling that person like 2-3 years ago, be like, oh, by the way, that's going to be on a cover for like millions of people to possibly hear and see. I just thought I was getting some good Instagram likes. That was it. Like that was it. Like, double tap.
It's because like music is art. So like what we were talking about with like, lyrics or whatever, having like a deeper meaning, or maybe like, the artist intended it to be a certain way, but you can interpret it how you will. It's like it's the same way with an album cover. It's like I made it this cover not just because it looked cool, but because of this reason.
Right.
And like that's the same way with like lyrics. I think we were talking about that at one time too. Is like it's like this particular line is like so crazy. What does it mean? Do you have any like lines in your song that pop out to you when I say that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like. My inflame is hotter, babe, is one of my lyrics in Messing Around. And to that gave me like maybe like some people it's like my inflame is hotter, like maybe like I'm more in charge, like I have more heat than you or something like that. But when I wrote it, because it's a very song about the game revenge and stuff, I literally meant to like I got a bigger dick than you, like dead ass. That's what I wrote. And like because like I love that like stereotype of being like a man with a bigger dick is more powerful, more masculine, and like I don't believe that, so I kind of like did that as like a little stereotype laugh in the face.
Yeah.
Kind of like a little manipulation there, but I just thought that was actually kind of really cool. And like there's so many cool metaphors in that song, like aftermath not looking how it should, flush face equals deathbed near, looks can kill, better yell clear. Of how like like when you catch someone lying to your face and you know it, and then they know that you know it, you could see like that they know they're caught, and they think that they're getting away with it, but they're not. It's just such a surreal moment to see like someone's like plan like crumble. It's like not like a satisfying thing, but it's kind of like a disappointing thing. Like, you know, your parents like, I'm disappointed in you type of thing. But it's like, I'm glad I know, but it sucks that it had to come this far type of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, and lines like that where it's like, one, it also sounds cool, and then two, it also has this dark meaning behind it. And then also, like, you know, when I listen to music, you know, I might be listening to, like, I don't know, I'll use like Juice WRLD as an example. Like, maybe some of his lines are maybe about his relationship with the drugs,
Right.
but you can interpret it as maybe a relationship with a woman or a relationship with a man,
Yeah.
or whoever. And like, you could just, as a listener, take something and mean it your own thing. And actually, as an artist, I love when people do that. If you hear one of my lines and it makes you feel a certain way, hell yeah, that's all you.
Yeah, like I could definitely like listen to like some of your songs. Like I said, like I get like a cool like vibe, like I'm in the city type of thing. I get that vibe a lot, especially like with your flow. It's very smooth, and some of your songs very like relaxing, for sure for me. I just like when I listen to an artist, I'm after something. Like when I was writing like my rock songs for my album Disapproval, it was all 3 Days Grace, 1X album all the way. That was my
It's a good one.
album to listen to. I just love that story, like Let It Die, and what else? It's All Over. Like that story of just like betrayal and like being so hurt, and like the suicidal aspect of like it's never too late. Like all that really fell into like what I wanted as an artist as well, to talk about stuff like that. And then like I wanted like some more like kind of like drug addiction things, like Amy Winehouse, who dealt with addiction and a toxic relationship. And I love the idea of Britney Spears being so caught up in the like the fame because people like forced her to do so many things. She was like a famous Barbie doll, if you will, and they just like pulled her strings to do exactly what they wanted. And I feel like that's how a lot of people feel like in the high school aspect when I wrote that album, being like, you know, you have to look this certain way and act this way if you want to be cool, popular, or even have a place to sit at lunch. Like it comes down to stuff like that. Like these artists that like I describe are kind of like role models when I had nothing. And I feel like without that musical role model aspect, I would not be like here today, like because I went through like a lot of like suicidal thoughts and depression and attempts and a lot of drugs and stuff like that when I was younger. So like it's just so nice to have like those people, like, and it's just crazy because I don't even know these people, but their words and music has helped me that much to the point where I'm still here today.
And do you think that has like in a way helped you like become a better person, or at least help you benefit in a way in your music or anything like that?
I would say not like become a better person, but just like help guide my ways to like see more hope in things, to build my character on my own.
Gotcha.
Because I feel like the only person who can change yourself is yourself. So I feel like I had to go through all these toxic people to like, you know, see what I wanted at the end of the day. And I know what I find very important in people. Like I need like optimistic, I need loyalty, I need trust, I need a little humor. You know, I just want a full package. And it sounds like I'm a little greedy and needy, but it's like I'm not going to settle for less because I know what less feels like. And I know what it feels like to be like that second place, which is one of the songs, Second Place, ironically.
Okay, yeah.
It's just like, you know, I don't want to settle anything for less because I don't want to feel like I'm being taken advantage of or I'm not being heard, because living in that box and like feeling alone, it like it's killing for me. Like I just can't deal with that.
Yeah, it's like you said earlier, you were like criticism, not judgment.
Right.
Like I'm gonna remember that because that is a good way to put it, you know.
Like, you know, I could be like, Mikey, I don't like your shirt. And I'd be like, Mikey, why would you ever wear that shirt? I cannot be seen with you again. Like, that is so, like, you know, like, it's just like a whole different, like, tone and attitude. Like, how you say things, and now you're covering your shirt.
And I'm like, my sister got me this shirt.
No, it's nice. I like it. Seriously. Seriously. But, you know, like, it's just, like, stuff like that. It's, like, you know, like, the tone. And, like, a big thing that I learned is empathy, because I'm going to be a therapist. I've been doing that for my college and stuff. And, like, empathy is living in the life of someone else's shoes. So, like, let's say, for example, like, you lost a football game. I don't give two shits about football, but I care about you, Mikey. I care about you as a friend and a person, for real, as we know. So, like, I would sit there with you as you're upset about the game and live that moment with you. Not just pat you and be like, oh, get up next time, bud. Like, that doesn't show I'm with you. That shows not the same feeling. That's pity. Pity is, like, kind of insulting, I guess, for me. Pity versus empathy. And I feel like that's something I see, like, a lot of people in my life that I've recently taken out because I don't like that pity. Be like, oh, that sucks, but look next time. Or, oh, you're being dramatic. It's fine. You'll get over it. It's like, I don't like that because I feel I'm not being heard, and I feel like my issues don't matter to you, as if I shouldn't even share them in the first place.
Right. It's making other people's problems or issues seem big or small compared to another person's. Like, everyone is just different.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, my song Problems is that way. You know what I mean?
I love that song.
And it's about more like I'm not saying that my problems are bigger or better or worse in any way. It's just saying I got them and I might need some help. You know what I mean? Like, it's all relative, and like that's why, like, it's that the empathy over pity thing is like that's how you make good friends and good relationships, and like that's how you just overall benefit yourself and everyone around you if you can like think that way, which is tough for some people. Unfortunately, it gets that way. But
and like a perfect example, like with Problems, how like people like take songs differently. Like when I heard that song, I was thinking like, okay, so this artist, person, whatever, if you will, is basically stating like, even though I may be like, let's say like maybe like a famous celebrity or something, we all have problems. I don't care who you are, and it shouldn't be a crime to voice them to whoever. That's how I took it personally.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, especially like with guys, like not to throw like stereotypes, but this is how I personally feel, that men find it harder to say if they're hurt or sad by something, which I think is very
it's
unfortunate,
true.
You know?
It's true.
It's like, my thing is like, you're man enough to hit somebody, but you're not man enough to say how I feel. That never will make sense in my brain. And like, sure, you want to call me like a little more feminine to someone, that's fine, but like at least at the end of the day, I can take a punch, I can do a punch, and I can say how I feel and not feel bad about it. You know, like when I walk away from something, I just say how I feel. And I'm not going to play people on, and I'm not going to be someone I'm not to please someone else, because then I feel like I'm losing a part of myself that I've worked so hard to get for myself. And at the end of the day, when you go home, you're with yourself. You don't want to go to bed sad or with regrets, because that could be your last day. I never want, every time I hit my head on my pillow, I want to know like I'm okay with myself, I'm assured of myself, and I couldn't have done anything more or anything less. And it sounds like a real hard job to do, and it is, but it just takes years and years of practice, and no one's ever going to be a perfectionist at it, but you will know what makes you you as you go on with life and hardship and so forth.
That's like a good goal to have at the end of every day. Like when your head hit the pillow, are you happy? It is that is a really good objective.
Like,
and you're right, it's hard.
I did that last night. Like, I was really thinking about like who's in my life right now, and it wasn't a lot, but that doesn't make me sad. It's not about the quality. It's about what is it called? The quantity.
Quality over quantity.
That thing.
Yeah.
I get them mixed
Gotcha.
up, but you know what I'm saying.
You good? I got you.
But yeah, like, you know, like I can like really like count on my hand, like who I want to be at the end of my life. You know, like it's a really dark thing, but like if I pass, I can like see who's at my funeral. If that sounds really weird, you know, like I can see like the certain people, not that I just want, but the people I know that will want to be there for me at my funeral. You know, and like if I have to second guess myself, like, is this person really in my life? If I even think that for a second, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
I just can't have that. And you know, like sometimes I will reach out to people because I'm very insecure and be like, are we still friends? Are we still good? And that scares people away, and I get it. But at the same time, it's like you need to know that this is a part of me, and like that thing again, like you have to accept the good and the bad. You know, everybody has their flaws and stuff, and it's like, that's mine. I am like a very insecure person. I need reassurance a lot, and I'm working on it 100%. But like, don't judge me for something that I'm working on.
Mm.
I don't think that's fair.
It's true. And I mean, like I can at least say, like, as an artist, like, when I'm like putting like I'm writing a song, or maybe it's one of my more emotional songs and something like that, like it's almost like an extension of me. So when I do share it with people, it's like, one, it's scary because it's like, oh shoot, like, who's gonna hear this, and it's like, how are they gonna think of me. But once you like detach yourself from that and you're like, okay, it's almost like a part of me that I like shed off, and now it's a song.
Right.
And now you can listen to it and you hear it and you're like, oh, that's really good. Like your friends or whoever around you like supporting you
Yeah.
is just like, it's always good, because like you said, I'll say it one more time, is like the whatever you said, the judgment versus
Pity versus empathy.
yeah, it's like that versus like a friend of yours can just look at it and be like, wow, like that's really, I know for you that must have been really hard to do, and I'm glad that you made that music. How many songs are on your album?
There are 16 songs, and it goes in a pattern of you find love for the first time, so you're very into it. You're in love with love itself and the person. Then you start like giving like on this high of love, like feeling yourself and the confidence you wanted for so long. Then you start getting a little bit more rebellious with the person, but you don't see it because you're blindsided because you're so in love with the person. Then they leave you, and then you go through like a severe depression and all those things, and then you blame yourself, you blame the person, and you blame other people around you. And then we talk about other issues that have made you feel saddened, because like the eating disorders, family issues, and all those things. And then suicide, which we do kill ourselves on the 8th track of Brutal Absence. Then we come back to life to tell more of the story in Anorexia. And then we go through, once we get revived in that, then we go through revenge, because we want people to feel our pain, because that's what we feel in that moment. But then once the album ends at 17, we see that we have so much more life to live for ourselves, and we don't need to waste it on making people feel our pain. If anything, we should try to spread happiness and awareness for others who have felt like we did in those past tracks of the album and in general in life. Because I think it's very important to be very vocal about how you feel and not feel guilty about it. It's like, I was suicidal. I was. Am I ashamed of it? No. It really should be like that. It shouldn't be like people like look at you differently or judge you, or like, say you were dramatic, whatever. It's like, these are real things that happen. So like with the album, we close with 17. The last line is, soon the world will see, meaning of how soon the world will be more open and accepting, hopefully, like as you move on into adulthood and life in general. I wanted that for my audience to be like, listen, like soon you will discover who you are, and that you're a boss ass bitch. You really are the really only one you. And I want you to take that with you and keep it with you, because no one could take that away. Up here in your mind, that's yours. I could be thinking about freaking pancakes right now. You don't even know it. Like, it's just like a gift. It's like in our head, what we think and what we do for ourselves, that's on us. That is always, always in our control, unless you let someone take it. But it's yours. It's a God-given gift for you to have that. It's yours forever to keep. So just keep using it to learn, grow. Are you gonna fall? 100%. But you can always pick yourself back up, and that's what we say. Like soon the world will see, of like what you are capable of and what you are going to do for yourself in the long run.
That's like extremely hard to do. One, it's really hard to write a 16 song album. Also, it's extremely hard to make it as intricate as you did, and like put as much emotion and that much meaning into it.
Yeah.
And like we were saying earlier, if I were to put myself in your shoes, I would be like, wow, like that's a huge accomplishment to be able to get those things out there. I want to say, get it out of your head onto paper. You know what I mean? To that jump there.
It was it took 2 years because of a lot of things. Like I have epilepsy, so I had a seizure again. So then that was like 6 months of like not being able to get my license and stuff. So I couldn't go and record. One of the songs was Anorexia, and when I was recording it, I relived those moments, and I ended up starving myself again. And then we had to stop recording it because it was too real. And then I had to make money because no one was very supportive of my music, so I had to work 2 jobs and make the money in order to record, even like for an hour.
Mm.
So all those obstacles, you know, I made into art, if you will. Like, you know, every hardship I want to make something positive, because I wrote that album 16 years old in an apartment all alone for a year. There was no one in the house but me. Everybody was gone. I had nothing, no friends, my family there was drama going on, nothing. It was just me. So I just would write every single day, and I time my songs, like when I write them, like January 5th, 1:35 a.m. Like I always do that because I remember those nights.
Oh yeah.
I like to do that to be like, you know, like at that moment I felt that way. You know, I like to keep it like, again, like a diary, to like look at like how far I've come. And it's cool to like see like the 1-2 year anniversaries of songs, to be like, I'm in such a different place right now. And I feel like I am in a pretty good place mentally. Like I've just got rid of a lot of toxic people in my life, and I'm trying to make excuses for them, but it's not worth it. And it takes a really hard time to accept that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, music itself is just like, it can be fun, you know. Like,
Oh.
you know, you have fun songs and all that.
Oh
Totally.
yeah, like Prom Queens, come on now. Like that one, like my friend and I, like I wanted to do like something really fun like that, but like still keeping in the pattern of like revenge and stuff like that, like getting after the prom queens. Like
Right.
how fun is that?
But it's also like you're sharing something that's like, it's art, you know. When someone makes a like a painting or a sculpture, you're like, you can be like, oh, what does that mean? What does that mean? And you know, you can say like, you'd be like, oh yeah, it's about like, screw the system. Like you can, you know, it could be whatever you want it to be, but ultimately you made it for a reason. You know, it didn't just be like, oh, I'll do this because no reason. Like
Right.
you wrote that song for a reason, and you, it's so nice to be able to now, like, how many months has it been since? A couple months, 3, 4?
I released it in August 20th. The album came out.
Gotcha.
And I've been working on it since June 25th of 2018. So it took me 2 years to do.
Gotcha. Wow. So listening to like a song you made 2 years ago, like now, how does that make you feel? Like you're like, all right, am I a different person? Like how is it? How is that song aged?
I
to
feel
you?
it has aged. Like, for example, like let's take Criminals. That song is 2 years old. That was the first song I ever did, and it changed so differently, like instrumentally. Like it was like first acoustic, then became this whole sketch and everything. So like, I feel like that in itself shows like how much I like to change as a person, and I never want to be like the same person. Actually listened to a podcast like with Miley Cyrus, and she said every day she wakes up, she's a different person. And I really related to that because, like, you know, like I feel like every day when I left the studio, I felt like a different person. I felt like stronger, more like optimistic, and I wanted to do like more different things musically and in life in general. So like I feel like, you know, when I look back at stuff like that, have I changed? Yeah. But at the same time, it's like the old me, I feel like, is watching the new me continually grow up, and it's kind of like giving me like a pat on the back, like, you're doing good. Don't worry what others are saying. You are doing good. And I
Gotcha.
feel like, and like I'm a type of person that needs like be like told like, am I okay? Am I doing okay? Like I need to hear that reassurance a lot. But I really, as I've gotten more developed with my music and more confident with it as an artist, I don't really need it as much. It's like I like it and it makes me feel good and it helped me out of a situation. That should be enough.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. One thing that's hard for me is like sitting on a song. Like if I'm like working on it, or at least maybe it's even been done, and I sit on it for months. It's like I'm like 3 months later. I have this problem right now with an album I'm working on at the moment. I'm like, all right, well, I'm getting ready to release it, but like I don't know. I wrote that song 6 months ago. I'm like, I don't know if I still vibe with it.
Yeah.
It's tough to work on something for 2 years and still stay consistent with it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I've been during 2021. I'm gonna be one of my goals is I'm gonna start doing singles more than
Right.
albums, because I'm doing 2 albums back to back, and I'm like, I gotta stop. I'm like, I gotta do some singles, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make one song, really just stick on that one song for like a couple weeks, just listen to it a bunch, make some edits, and then release it. All right, next song, and that's my game plan of like kind of how to move forward. But like I know, like obviously, like you said, you had what 9 albums?
Yeah, I've written 9 albums. Each one tells a story, and with COVID, it's put Disapproval kind of like on the back order, I guess, if you will, because I wanted to do shows. I wanted to get out there more. So I do keep trying to put it out there more, like because we made merch and we talk about like the songs all the time here and there. So we keep trying to like put it out there, and it's working for sure. But it's like I feel like this album took so much time. I'm not ready to leave it just yet to focus on a whole new project.
Okay, yeah, yeah, definitely. So when you say you have like 9 songs, does that mean you have like all the lyrics written out?
Yes.
Songs organized and everything?
All lyrics and the track orders, the story, everything is there. Just like, getting in the booth with Steve and doing some melodies is what it would need. But I already have like a theme of what I want, because Disapproval has like it all: the pop, rock, jazz, acoustic, the whole shebang. Because I wanted to show each one of those genres I felt sense a different mood. But these other albums will just be like a strict one genre: rock, jazz, acoustic. So I feel like those would be like a little more easier, because I'm not bouncing back to back with genres. I could just stay in that one mindset and not have to bounce around. So I feel like, there's 9 albums. There's I'm Back, We All Have Our Moments, Serious Savage, Hotter Than Hot, We Know Who, Unbreakable Soul, Disapproval, Welcome to My Mental Breakdown, and An Addictive Nightmare.
Gotcha.
Those are my 9 albums, and as like with some of those titles, some of them sound a little bit darker as they are, and some were more just like little high school me, kind of like experiencing some things that I felt were cool to share. But sometimes like like late at night I'll doctor them up and like make them have like the same meaning but fix like their grammar or the flow. Like sometimes I'll be like a whole bar will be like 2 lines. I'm like, we need to chop that down. Like like making like flows and stuff like that. But right. I never want to change the meanings of them. Even if I don't feel like them, like I don't really like that meaning, or I don't feel that way now. It's like I always keep the meaning the exact same, because that's how 16, 17-year-old me felt. That's
when you wrote it,
right?
It's like a capsule of that moment.
Yeah.
In a song. I was gonna ask like how what your songwriting process goes like. It's and like production wise, but you start with lyrics for the most part.
I always do lyrics first, and like how they come to me is just like if I have a really really bad day, I'll write. Like I remember I wrote this one song called Charity Case like in one day, like in 20-30 minutes, like literally just in that day, because I was so fed up with like these people being like fake friends to me because they felt bad for me. And I'm like, I don't need that. There's other ways for me to feel better. I don't need a fake friend to pat me on the back as if you care for me. Once again, with that pity versus empathy aspect. So like stuff like that, like in those heated moments, I could just write things so fast. But then other times it would just be sort of like in the shower, running, like anything. Like I guess when I'm really isolated, I can write something. I do best alone with that. I feel like if I were to write a song right here with you, I'd be like distracted. I'd be like, what's Mikey thinking? What's Mikey doing?
Yeah.
I need to be alone in my own space to do it. Or if I'm, like I said, if I'm in a heated moment or I'm very passionate about something, then I will. Like I remember like a celebrity past I cared about, and I wrote a song called Sometimes, which talked about how sometimes people leave for no reason, and we just have to go on with our lives for them, So like stuff like that, very passionate moments, stuff like that, they just kind of click. Kind of like, like you can't rush art. You can't just like be like, okay, I'm writing a song tonight and it's going to be done at 4:05. It's like, it's not going to happen like that. Same thing like with my album. It's like, did I want it to come out so much sooner? Yeah, I really did. I hate that it came out during COVID time, but at the same time, it's like when it was done, I feel like every artist, like before they release, they're like, oh, I should have done this. Oh, I should have done that. To this day, I still feel perfectly happy with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's super important. I feel like you could relate to that as well. It's like when you dropped your album, like, did you feel fully like happy with it, or did you have regrets like, oh, I should have added an extra verse or blah blah blah? Like, do you ever like feel like that?
Um, kind of. For me, songwriting not as much. I do end up enjoying my lyrics and all of that.
Same.
Sometimes I'll be like, this mix, because I do mix all my own.
Yeah.
For sometimes Steve will do some of my songs, but like a lot of the last album, I did most, if not all the songs. He did Vodka and Tears.
Vodka and
Yeah.
Sorry, bitches.
That was the first song I recorded here.
Really?
Because I always did stuff on my own at home, and then I was engineering, but then I never came in and did my own music until I did that song with Steve. But yeah, I'll mix like one of my own songs, and like I'll finish it, and then I'll play it in the car, and I'll be like, oh, this one part needs this, and then I'll go back and change it, and I'm just always changing it. But I feel like now, like months later, because mine was in October, I play a song and I'll be like, oh, it's not that bad,
Yeah.
And I'm kind of impressed myself on that, but definitely while I'm making it, I'm very critiquing on my own stuff.
Yes.
Especially in the mixing for me. Yeah, I'm always like, oh, the too many high frequencies and all of this crap is going through my head, and that's why I feel like another important thing is surrounding yourself with other talented people, or people who are just going to help you out. People in your corner is what I say. You need people in your corner. Like, there's so many different aspects to making a song. There's the lyrics, there's the production, there's the mixing, mastering, even promotion if you count that. And I'm like, if you try and do all of that yourself, sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. And I'm like, all right, well, I met a really nice producer he's really good and we're chill. And so he helps me out with the producing. I'm like, all right, well, I got the songwriting down. I can do that myself. And I can even do the recording myself and some mixing. So I'm like, all right, now I really want this song to be really greatly mixed. I'm like, all right, well, now I got Steve in my corner. I got Wiggs, and I got all these other people who can help me out. Like, all right, now I need promotion. I'm like, all right, I can do some of this myself, but, oh, my friend can do this for me. And just like surrounding myself with people in your corner who are going to help you out, even if they're just a hype man.
Right.
They want to come to your session. Like, I know you brought a friend that one time, and they're like, yeah, that sounds dope.
Yeah.
That energy, keeping the energy up is important.
Yeah. When I bring people in or let people in at this, whatever you will, I want to make sure, like you said, they bring that energy of like hyping me up and bringing stuff to the table. Like, I don't want just someone to sit back and listen and nod their head. Like, I want you to be upfront, like, that's trash, or I fuck with this. Like, bring something to the table, because if I let you in to the booth with me, then you're part of my team. You're part of my family. And I want you to know that when you come in, I want to welcome you into my world. And I want you to bring stuff to it. I can't even tell you, like, so many people that I have brought in to the studio have put so many things on the album. Like, for Devil's Hour, like, there's like this piano drift at the end, as we know. And that was actually one of Steve's interns named Kate. Shout out to Kate, love her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I'm like, how can we end this, guy? She's like, let's just do a piano thing. It's so heavy. Let's just make it a little bit calmer. I'm like, write that down. Like, and my really good friend Emily, love that girl. There was like the same for Brutal Absence. Like, there was like these higher octaves that were super, super dramatic with my voice. And she's like, you need to keep that. That's the best part. And I said, okay, I will. I really, because at the end of the day, it's like they're going to be listening to these songs too. And I want them to feel like they have a purpose as well. Like I said, when you come into the studio, you're part of my family. And I want them to know, like, they meant something to me and that they have a voice, I just want to make sure people know that.
Yeah, 100%. I like even like when I'm collabing with someone on a song, we're working together on a song. I'm in there recording my verse, and maybe I'm stumbling over a line. They're like, I like what you're saying. Change this word to this word. It'll still make sense, and it will sound cleaner. And I'm like, okay. Wiggs does that a lot of times for me.
Yeah.
Just like when you get someone who's close with you like that and can really see your vision, they're like, I know what you want to say,
right.
And I know you're almost there. Here, try this. And it's like, you got those people in your corner too. It's like all these different people,
Right.
You got them helping you out. You're unstoppable,
So let's answer the question that everyone's probably wondering. When is the Mikey T and Disapproval Joe collab happening? Anyone?
I mean, studio's right there. I mean,
Okay, so this podcast is done.
yeah, we're gonna go hit the stew.
But I would love to work with something with you if like a cool like rap flow with like my type of lyrics or something. That'd be so cool. I would love to do that.
Yeah, I'm so down.
Not to be off topic, but like I just felt like saying that because once again, if I have something on my mind, I'm gonna say it. You know. But like another thing I was wondering, not to like put it on you, but I was just curious like. What is like a song like? Because we talk about like how empathy and stuff like something means to you with even like one lyric. Is there a certain song off my album that like you felt really clicked with you personally, or someone that like is there something that like you feel like you would listen to again just for like the meaning, the beat, or anything particularly?
Well, when you were sharing me like your song, I think you showed me your track list. So you were like, pick one song, I'll show it to you.
Right.
And it was just the track list. And I was like, I need to pick a song to listen to just off the title. And it was, I'd shown you my song, Vodka in Tears. And I was like, maybe I wonder what his is. You know what I mean? And so I liked your song, Vodka. Because I was like, because I was going into it like, oh, maybe he has a similar vibe that I do on my song. And then I listened to yours. It was a little different, but it was like what I got from it was like similar to the reason that I put mine down. I don't know if this was your intention, right?
Yeah.
But like what I got from it was like almost like alcohol can be like its own entity that's telling you to do something. And like that was like in some of my songs, like an aspect of what I put down. And I was like, that's cool. We kind of like had the same vision on two different songs. Like,
yeah, for sure. When I wrote Vodka, it described like what the rebellious phase. So like I felt like when it says in it with vodka, did I shock you? Meaning of how like when you take vodka in, it's hard and heavy, similar to being your own person. That's why I say shock ya. It's like shock you that I'm not gonna be like every cookie cutter person or be like in this social group with you guys. I'm not gonna be a follower. Like taking vodka in, it's hard to do. It's just like standing on your own 2 feet. It's hard to do. But you know what? You're gonna live in that rebellious moment. You're gonna just do whatever the fuck you want. And if you hurt someone, oh well. If you disappoint someone, oh well. That's how you felt in that moment. Like you didn't have any emotion, you didn't have any care. Just like with vodka, like when you're taking it, it's just so hard and heavy. Just like the true self you're trying to find.
oh, gotcha. That's so crazy to hear. Cause like I honestly, we could even like, I mean, would take up so much time, but like if we were to like go through a song, listen to a bar and be like, you'd be like, all right, what does that bar mean? I'm like, I think it means this. And you're like, nah, I think it means this.
Yeah. It's
every line.
It's like a game association, like, and that's why I love so much. Like, like it's not like Mikey, you're wrong. This is what it means. It's more like, I just love how like you took it to relate something with your work, which is cool. And I like how it means something to me differently, Like I said, like, like the saddest song could be like someone's freaking bop anthem, to like my music or your music or anyone's music. I just think that's so interesting. Like when I listen to Vodka and Tears or Drugs, Lies, anything like that, Problems, I get very different vibes. Like I get like city vibes and, the idea of like, voicing like you have flaws and like I've said, and I really like that. Like for one, that you had the courage to write that and produce and make something of it, of your own art, and of how it touched me in a place of like someone else gets this and it's not just me making up all these crazy things that people say aren't real.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I'm not much of like an artist. Like I can't paint, draw, nothing. I've always wished I could, because I always admired like you have nothing, like an empty canvas, and you can turn it into like a Bob Ross looking like whole canvas. And I'm like, that came all from your head. Like that was like, you can look at a landscape painting and that was nothing before, not based on anything. It literally, someone imagined a world and created that world on a piece of paper. I'm like, holy crap, I wish I could do that. Like I could sure imagine that. For sure. Like I totally imagine mountains and the trees and all this stuff, but there's no way I could illustrate that from my brain to a piece of paper.
And that's why I feel art goes in so many different levels. It's like pen and paper, musically, it just goes in so many different levels. Same thing with music. Music can go in so many different levels as well. Like, I personally find music very therapeutic, as I've said, it's helped me out of very dark situations. But it's like, I can really think that like music, like there's even music therapy in this world. Like it's a real thing. And I feel like when you see those kids in the halls at school or anything like that, and they have them in, I feel like it's not necessarily like to like ignore the teachers. Like sometimes it is, but I feel like sometimes it's like they just want to block out all that hate and frustration, and just like want to listen to the words of these artists, or like like when they hear like that rock hard music, it just like blares everything out, and it shows like the rage they're feeling, or listening to that Queen Adele, like what I mean, like the sad songs, and like just like you're feeling yourself in that moment, and it's very therapeutic because it's like a lot of people can't just be like, I'm sad, Mikey, I'm upset, Mikey. They can't do it. Music does the talking for them in their own head to listen to and to bottle up.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's definitely, even like what you said earlier, like it's sometimes hard to just like talk about your feelings sometimes for certain people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, music is a tunnel for that.
Right.
For me at least, like it's so easy for me. I could freestyle a song from beginning to end off the top of my head of how I feel. If you gave me the topic, like talk about how you feel in the song, I'm like, all right, here we go. Here's a full song in 2 minutes.
Holy shit.
Like, versus if you were to like, all right, make a party song, make a pop hit, I'm like, okay, give me a couple minutes. Like, certain things just come so quickly in that sense because it's there. Like, it's a portal out.
See, I thought it'd be the opposite with you. I felt like you'd like the party thing would come more easier than the emotional. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the mood, obviously too.
True.
But I feel like because I just have so much built up, it's almost like just releasing it all almost. So like, especially if you're in the vibe and you got the beat going or whatever, because I like to have the beat first personally, and I like to write around that vibe. Depends. Sometimes I'll have lyrics and then I'll end up finding a beat later, but
yeah, for sure.
Like, then when it comes to something maybe like more like something like a hype song or whatever you're making, I feel like I still end up hiding little things in there that maybe you wouldn't notice, but
like
I would
Easter
notice.
eggs.
Yeah, like I still like, maybe the song is maybe more about hanging out, blah blah blah, whatever the heck you're doing. But like there's a lyric in there that really describes the reason I made that song or something like that.
I do that all the time with my songs, like and like, do I ever worry that like like the person I write about is ever gonna find out? Not really, because like I feel like it's like they gave me the right to write something about them. Like like you made me feel something and I want to express it for myself. Like you gave me the right to say it because you gave me something to feel. If that kind of makes sense. Like I bet like some of your songs, they're definitely about some people in your life that have done you wrong or done you good, whatever the case may be. And it's like now that's in your hands, right? How you feel about it. It's not like you're calling out like the people in general, like what their names or anything. It's kind of like an undercover like Easter egg thing, like we said. And I think that's very cool to kind of like like maybe like some people don't have like the balls to like say like such and such, you made me upset. Like then they put it into music. Like like a lot of artists do with like relationships and stuff, and they don't say their names, but they just keep it very like kind of like on the down low, and then it just becomes like a national breakup song that you're gonna be dancing to.
Yeah. Sometimes even like I'll make a song, maybe it's about a relationship.
Yeah.
But maybe like the song, and I've done this before, is like this part of the song is about this part of this relationship, and then the other part of the song, maybe like the second verse, is about this part of a different relationship. But ultimately it formulated into one song, so when you listen to it, you're like, I feel it, you know what I mean? It has a clear path, but for me it was a collection of different things that put in there.
Right.
Less of a beginning to end, more of like a, I don't know, it's all different inside.
Yeah, like it's like you go from A to B, but like they still merge to be A and B. Like you know what I mean? It's like it's still like the same concept, but you wanted to go more detail with other people. I've done that many times. It's like you have one person that did this to you, but you have another person that went beyond that, and you want to include it to get the full effect.
Yep.
And that totally makes sense with me. I just, I'm just like so grateful, like, you know, that's like, I love like getting like little comments from people, be like, you know, like, this song helped me through this, or this song made me feel good. Like, you know, like, stuff like that, like, really makes like my day, because when I think about that, I just think about that kid in that room who wrote those songs and just like felt like no one really cared for them. But then you have people like looking up to that sad kid. It's just like cool how the roles have reversed. It's like now that kid has a voice and a purpose for himself and for people that look up to him.
Yep. I really gotta attribute some of, if not like the reason I kept going, because at first I was just kind of experimenting with making music. I'd always like engineered, and I was still doing that, but like I was like making my own music, and I made Geometry. It was the first song off this album I made.
Yes.
And I like made it for one specific reason, but it was a very vague song. But a friend of mine who was like one of the only people I shared it with, I gave him like the private link to it, and he ended up playing it like 40 times in like a month. And I was like, dude, you played that? He's like, oh yeah, I played it every like Tuesday, Thursday on the way to this class, because I was always in this mood and I wanted to listen to it. And he was like, it got me through that day. And I was like, oh, okay. And it made me feel like so happy that he did. And like that was before I even told him what it was about.
Yeah.
And like that kept me going. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do that again. And now I
Right.
did it again with another song. And,
That's so awesome.
but yeah, you need those people in your corner that, or even if it's just like a fan, you know, you get your first fan, and they're like, love your music. My favorite song is this. You're like, you listen to more than one? Okay. Like,
Right. That's how I think of it. Like, I feel like with you, like, my favorite song is like Vodka and Tears sometimes, or Drugs and Problems. Like, those two, like, but those just like click to me so much, because like I just get those vibes and I just relate to them so much, and I love like your flow. And because like when I think about like your music, I think of like my times like in the city. You give me a very cool like city vibe.
yeah. Okay.
Which is like my nostalgia, because I grew up like in the city a lot, and I just like that feeling, because like, you know, like when I think of city, I think of like fashion and just like no rules and freedom, and like I like to feel that empowerment. So like thank you for like
yeah.
making me feel that type of way, like whenever I listen to like one of your songs, whether it be like, you know, lounging on the couch or like working out, whatever. Like I just love that like nostalgic feeling.
It's crazy you say that, because I did grow up in the city too. Like
I knew it.
I grew up in Boston. Where did you grow up?
I have been all over.
Okay.
Like I lived in Manulus, then I lived in Chittenango, then I lived in Fayetteville, then I lived in Florida and Fort Myers, and now I lived in Camillus, and then now I'm in Lafayette.
Wow. Man, I was in Manlius too.
Really?
Yeah.
I was there as like a little baby.
Oh, okay. Did you go to school there and stuff?
Maybe like pre-K or some shit
Oh,
like
alright,
that.
okay.
But like even though I didn't like live in the city, I was always in it for my mom, because she always like loved the fashion and shopping and stuff like that. So like I grew up with that, and it always stuck with me. Like I always was so big on fashion. Like that's like why I'm wearing my
Yeah, it's so
outfits.
fly. Yeah, your
My-
fly outfit.
My outfits say like I just have always been big on fashion, because I like the idea of like self-expression.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So like, is there like a certain like vibe that you feel like when you listen to my work? Because like when I feel yours, it's like the first thing I think of is like city. That's like the first thing I can think of is that word. Like, is there a certain like word, feeling that you feel like you could say like for disapproval, or you think it's like a wide
I think
variety?
what's coming to mind is like kind of like the mind of someone who's kind of like going through, like if I'm kind of picturing myself like walking through school, walking through like high school, and I'm like listening to like whatever's in my earbuds, and it's like I'm in like that mood of like, don't bother me. Like I'm listening to this music and I'm listening to Disapproval Joe, and I'm like, don't, like, you know, the teacher's like, take your earbuds out, and I'm like, no, like I'm listening to your
Okay.
I'm in that like sad high school me, and I'm like, I'm listening to my music, and you're not gonna tell me I'm not gonna listen to this kind of thing.
So like a little bit like rebellious and kind of like
Yeah,
misunderstood.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
rebellious, kind of like, um, I don't want to say like closed off, but kind of like, I'm like thinking. You know what I mean? Like,
You want like your alone time.
yeah, it's music that makes you think. You know,
Ooh,
you
I
make
like
music that
that.
makes you think. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna put this on and go for a run, because you're gonna be
Right.
thinking about it while you're running. Um,
That was a big thing for especially with me. I wonder if you can relate this to. It's like when I make a song, like I like my titles to be very like interesting. Like for example, like second place. Like you think of like maybe like racing. You know what I mean?
hmm
But it's more of like like a standard in life. Like not gonna be second place. Silver has a bad aftertaste. Rate is 0 to 10. Runner up once again. Kind of like the idea of like like I said, like I'm never gonna settle for anything less. That's why I have these standards because I never want to be anything but first place in someone's eyes.
Mm.
Relationship, friend, whatever. So that's like I love like the idea of like when I write something, like they read this track list and they're like, these sound interesting. I think I already know what it means. Like, don't judge a book by its cover. Simple as that. And then it's like when they listen to it, it's like I wonder what they are saying. Like thinking music. I really like that label of like, can that be like a new genre? Thinking music, like
Thinking music, yeah.
thinking music. Like. I really like that, so thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Out of all the songs on your album, what's your favorite song? I know that can be different. That's like favorite song you made, favorite song you listened to.
Right.
What's a song that stands out to you still off your album?
So
months
yours
later?
is Baka, correct?
Yes.
Mine, right now, I'm really feeling messing around because I like the idea of like this character that I felt of like wanting revenge so bad and all that. And like, not even just the revenge part, I just love its beat and I love how sick it is. And I just love the idea of like how like this person, like, yes, they may be like a little bit crazy trying to like, seek for blood on this enemy, but I love the idea of like how like if they're just done with the shit and like they just like not messing around me, like and that's how I feel right now. Like I'm done with games. I've come to the point in my life where it's like, if I feel someone is going to use me and they're shady and they think I'm too much and like they call me words like dramatic liar and all that, it's like I just gotta walk away. I can't fight for someone anymore. I don't got time for messing around. And I feel like that one's really hitting with me right now. So that one at this moment is my favorite song.
Mm, cool. How about out of the songs of those 9 albums that you're making, or like something that's up and coming? What's a song you're excited to
Ooh.
get working on?
There's this one called Controversial, which I thought was really cool because it talks about like how when people get under my skin, they feel like they're winning. And it's like, they want this reaction because that's what people do when they bully you or come after you. They want the reaction. They feed off that. That's their dinner. And in the song, it talks about how I've seen everything. I've had people make fake social media accounts to me. I've had people make like fake pictures of me. I've had people do prank calls of me, stalked, groped, everything. Like all these crazy things in my life have happened to me. So I'm just kind of the point in the song where it's just like, what else you got? I'm kind of like numb of the idea of like being harassed. It's like I've seen it all and dealt with it all. So that's like, I'm a very controversial person. It's like when you get to know me, it's like I have been through a lot of things and people think it's like, kind of like my fault. It's like, oh, he's got a lot of drama. He kind of deserved it. But it's like, in some cases, yes, I probably did. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm working on myself and I'm okay with who I am. It's like, call me controversial if you will, but I'm still me and I love who I am. And that's enough. So you can do all your fun and games and say I'm controversial and all this shit, but that's still me. And I know who I am at the end of the day. So it's just like, what else you got? It's like, oh, I'm going to do this. Okay, next. I'm going to do this. Next. Like, I just, like, nothing really, like, hurts me anymore. Like, words are just words unless you give them meaning, And that's
Yeah.
a big thing I feel like a lot of people take time to learn, Like when someone called me, like, fat. Like, I let that freaking burn, like, my soul. Like, that killed. But now when I hear it, I'm like, damn, I want some McDonald's. Like, I don't care. Like, like, it's just, like, my life. And I don't have time to be told all these things that don't make me feel good. So, and then they'll manipulate me, say, like, oh, you're an asshole. Oh, you're this and that. And then the controversial aspect of the song. And it's like, Okay, what else you got?
You don't got time for the hate.
No.
No, there's not enough time in the world for it.
Like, I know
Screw
what I
that.
want. I know what I want. I just want to be accepted for the good and the bad. Because I do that for other people. Like, I was talking to my two best friends in the entire world, Liz and Becca. And, like, I just love how, like, blunt and honest we are with each other. Because we've been friends for 5 years now. So, like, that's how we are. We're just so blunt at something. It's like, they could literally be like, I'm getting dick. I'm like, good for you. Like, that's how we talk. It's just so awesome, you know? Like, I love that open relationship. We could just talk about anything, you know? Like, and I want that with, like, all my friends, you know? Like, even with you, like, if I want to be like, Mikey, I feel like shit, and I gotta, like, go take a shit. Like, you know, like, something just so stupid and like that. It's like, I don't care. Like, you know, like, I want to be able to say whatever I want to someone.
Yeah, there's
You
no
know?
standards, you know.
Right.
Screw that.
You know, not and then not has to be like, why would you say that to me? Like, are you crazy? It's like I don't believe in TMI. I don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, it's life. Crazy shit happens, you know, and I love that stuff. Like and I just love how I have like this like I don't want to say collection, but like this group of people that are so like that. Like I've met some people that are just like so freaking blunt and honest. Like I love like freaking being on a huge like deep conversation rant, and I'm like laying in my bed with just a robe on, and my friend's literally on the toilet peeing. Like I just love that like open realness. You know, that's what I see myself wanting at the end of the day, and like that relates to my music. Like you know, like just that blunt TMI crazy shit that I love to do, like the crazy sound effects, moaning, you name it. And it may like sound all fun and games, but then I make it into my craft, which becomes art.
Yeah. No, I think I love how you're describing like your relationship with your friends and stuff like that. Cause like I get that too. Like I text my friends on me like, yo, what the fuck we doing tonight? Like,
Yes.
and then we tell each other like, yo, shut up, you know, and stuff like
Yes.
that. You know, because when you get that close, it's like, I can't believe you just said shut up to me. I'm like, hell yeah, I said shut up to you. Like,
Right.
we're that close. Chill. But yeah, all right. So I do want to wrap it up in a minute.
Yeah.
But what's up next? Like, what's up next for Disapproval Joe? You've got 9 albums worth of songs. Which one are we seeing next? We seeing a single? We seeing a full album next?
Well, actually, so I've been doing some guitar lessons with Steve, the manager we talked about previously. So we're doing that. More of the merch. We have our hoodies, our mugs, our t-shirts, and that is at Etsy.com called Disapproval Joe's Merch. No spaces, just one whole word. Etsy.com. You can get yours there now if you're interested. And just like, you know, just like keep sponsoring on social media, the album, and maybe doing like a live show here at Subcat Studios.
I've done them. They're very nice.
We've been talking about doing that for sure, but I've been really focusing on just like with the album itself and just like responding to comments and stuff and playing the guitar, because I would love to be able to play my electric guitar somewhat decently, because I'd be love to play like my own songs. Like that'd be like a really cool goal of mine. But as for like upcoming projects, Steve and I, the song Sometimes I was talking about a little bit, if how it just happened, like someone who passed or something. Steve and I were going to do a collab on that song, so as a cool single, and that is going to be happening down the road, just to keep like my audience, like, you know, like I'm still here, you know, kind of like thing. But like I said, I'm not ready to let go of Disapproval just yet as of talking about it, because like the emotions are still there, and I just want it to get the justice it deserves as a promotion.
Yeah. Real quick, why don't you plug your Instagram or Spotify, whatever you...
Yeah, of course. So my Instagram is JOE, no spaces, 8912, no spaces. And then on Spotify, if you just type in Disapproval Joe, I'm right there, and the album's right there. And then, of course, let's not forget about Mr. Mikey T. Please
man.
share.
My stuff?
Duh.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, you know, I go by Mikey T, and my Instagram's _Michael_Tavares, and I just dropped my album as well. We were talking about earlier, Problems, and it's also on Spotify under Mikey T.
Good ass listen.
Disapproval by Disapproval Joe is also a good ass listen.
His words, not mine.
Yeah, no. It was on the table. I had to read it out, you know.
Shh, Mikey.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me today, and hope maybe we could do this again sometime. Maybe
Of
we can,
course.
you know, I definitely want to see you on a live show if you're gonna do
I definitely
that.
want to see you on one of my tracks, Mikey.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We don't want to let anybody else know before, you
Okay,
know,
fair
keep
enough,
it on the
fair
low.
enough.
Keep it on the low. Well, thank you for joining me. This is Syracuse Sound with Mikey T, brought to you by Subcast Studios, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Bye, guys.